Hello and welcome to OverShadow ShadowCast. Your host Thomas Anderson, Abigail Mott.
Welcome back, everybody.
It's a very interesting show this week.
Hopefully.
Yeah,
That sounds very aggressive the way I said that.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
I've just been. I don't know. I don't really feel like trying to make this sound too good, to be honest. You know, like that sort of way that people do, like, oh, welcome back, it's gonna be so great. Oh, blah blah blah. You know, action-packed show.
You're the reason we only have 13 subscribers.
Yeah, but I don't really see the point in going, oh, this is so much fun, you're going to enjoy it so much, and then sitting here just like, I feel like I'm prescribing enjoyment rather than just talking about what I want to talk about, and then, you know, like I can't back that promise up scientifically with you will definitely enjoy this.
Well, hopefully you'll enjoy it. That's why we say hopefully.
Yeah, but I just, it seems just unscientific to promise something you inherently can't promise. I mean, clearly those birds are having a lot of fun. But...
And if you can't pick up those birds on the recording, it's all in your head.
Again, we sound mental.
It's all in your head.
Yes. But the pretty birds. And there, the pink giraffe.
A bird flew into our house the other day.
Oh,
I had to try and get it out. That was fun. I thought it was like on the other side of the window, then I realised it was between the window and the blinds. It's like, great, okay, how are we going to deal with that?
Cannonball?
No, it was only a little bird. It's only a little bird. It was scared.
A tiny cannonball? Make it real target practice. Firing ball bearings out of a tiny hand-sized cannon.
That's never happened before. Literally no birds ever, because it's not like a big window. You can't open it up a lot. You can open it up maybe about maybe 6 inches or so.
Have you seen a birdhouse? Because they've got those tiny holes on the front that the birds are able to get in.
I have seen a birdhouse. Yes, I have seen a birdhouse. I have. But the angle of our window, right?
The angle of incidence to the angle of reflection. Sorry.
The bird would have to go under basically the window to be able to get the.
Have you seen how birds approach branches?
No.
They do it from just underneath.
Oh, well, anyway, a bird got in our house. That's the end of that story. It flew to the other end of the house and we had to get it out another window.
And the partridge in your bedroom.
My dad had to basically just grab it because we tried every other way, but it was
I take it he didn't squeeze it, he just sort of netted it with his fingers.
Netted it.
And then just went, fly, my pretties, fly!
No, just basically out the window went. Dad's not a witch. My dad's not the witch from Wizard of Oz.
So other than tales of chasing birds, that's my job. Should we talk about the stories we came to talk about?
Yes, because neither of us have actually played anything this week.
No.
So the first story is about Cyberpunk 2077.
Yes.
And how people are attacking it.
Yeah, it's just a little discussion I wanted to have regarding the flack that Cyberpunk 2077 has taken during its development. There's been quite a lot.
Mm-hmm. I know, so I remember because we had the trans story, wasn't it?
Yeah, we had the Did You Assume My Gender?
We also had the racist story.
Yes. And recently, several employees having to come out and protect the company.
Yeah.
The people in charge saying they were going to do something about the crunch. And for some reason, gaming journalism is attacking the crunch in CD Projekt Red, but not the crunch in places like Activision, or EA, which was way worse.
Yeah, because the crunch, for those who don't know, it's crunch time. It's basically when they are kind of pushing themselves to the extreme to get a game done, isn't it?
Aye, crunch time. And it seems inordinately focused on Cyberpunk 2077. It doesn't quite make sense as well. A lot of what they're saying is just silly, you know?
What exactly is it that they're saying? Because you know more about this than me.
Well, you've mentioned the attacks there. You've also got people on Twitter, obviously, declaring war on it.
I meant the crunch time. What
crunch time story.
What are people specifically saying about that?
it's just about how crunch timey it was at The Witcher, and it's sort of remained quite highly focused since then, even though they're producing Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah.
But they've come out and they've said, we have a problem with it and we're going to try and do what we can to fix it, which is more than any other company's done. And yet, they are the ones who get attacked by the... It's concerted, basically.
Yeah, because it's CD Projekt Red that make this, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, they don't play by the normal rules, right?
No.
They do it the way it's supposed to be done.
Yeah.
But that doesn't help gaming media journalism, doesn't mainstream gaming journalism.
No.
So that's why. I mean, it's a pretty basic point to draw, but it's like blogs. If you've ever seen on the BBC, they have a programme called The Papers,
No, I've not heard of
where
that.
they read the next day's papers and discuss the topics in question.
When's that? When's that on?
I think it's quite late at night,
Right, okay.
like noon when it's dark. I believe that's colloquially known as midnight. It's around about that time, I think, and they might have it early morning again.
Okay.
And oh, okay. So I don't know if you can pick this up at home.
I don't know if you can hear it at home, but unfortunately there's people doing
Landscaping.
landscaping roughly near us. There's something we can do about it. Unfortunately, we can't go and ask them to stop.
This isn't America, so we
No.
can't shoot them.
No.
So.
Nor would we want to.
Of course, because then we'd be in America.
So
But-
if you guys hear it, we apologise for
Yeah,
it. But there's
we
nothing we
apologise.
can do. We can't move. We can't do anything.
We could feed him into his own machine.
No.
Keep that for Hitman.
Very well.
Excellent. We have an accord. So I'll just continue. And what was I talking about, sorry? Oh, it was the BBC and the papers.
Yes.
So they've got that programme on, they discuss the papers, blah, blah, blah. But what they do is that they have the newspapers, and they discuss the newspapers on TV,
Yeah.
which is an internal mainstream system. Bloggers which get higher readerships or viewerships aren't invited on.
Okay.
I mean, the biggest example is the Wings Over Scotland. It gets over 250,000 readers, which is a lot more than a lot of the papers, which get in the tens of thousands, if that.
I totally forgot that was even a thing till you just reminded me of that. I've not looked at that website in probably about a year.
But even though it's not a high, campaign for independence right now, it still gets over 250,000. Most newspapers that are there get tens of thousands. I think there's only one or two newspapers that have a bigger circulation than Wings Over Scotland does. And whatever your political leanings are, that would qualify it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't ever get invited on because it's entirely left to the papers, even though they are now fast becoming an irrelevant medium.
True. I don't understand. I find it really amazing when people actually still see newspapers, because I sometimes watch breakfast shows, not just BBC, but like I think they have one on STV and stuff like that, Good Morning and things like that, and I chop between quite a few things, and I see that they've got newspapers on there. I'm like, what's the point? Because all journalism's got an agenda.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got a story that you want to run with, you'll find enough evidence to support it. If you've got like a...
The problem with the written media is as long as they say a source, they can write whatever they want.
Yeah. It's a scary thought when
That's
you think
what the
about it.
Levinson inquiry was about, essentially, to try and control the media. Because you want a free press, but what you don't want is an uncontrollable press.
No.
I am a free person, but I still have to obey the law.
Yeah. Should we get back to Cyberpunk 2077?
The point is that it's an internal system which helps itself in a loop.
Yeah.
So the written media comes onto the TV and they speak about the papers. It's an internal system.
Yeah.
They don't play ball with anybody outside of it. And that is exactly what's happening here. They're refusing to play ball with anybody outside of the system. CD Projekt Red operate differently. it's why so many people like the games they produce. And they probably don't play ball with gaming journalism quite like other companies like EA and Activision do. Now, EA and Activision and all the rest of those companies lean towards streamers as well, don't get me wrong, but they still pay attention to the written media. And because they don't play ball, people will attack them. But they'll do fine out of this, because the people who actually just want to play a game will buy that game.
Yeah.
People who are driven entirely by their agenda and have the mental flexibility of a peanut shell, they will stay away from this game.
Yeah, I was thinking that those who, was it the saying is, those who shout the loudest often have nothing to say.
I'm not sure
which I find very true.
I think there are some people like that, but there are some people who do have something to say. And it was that other one that you were talking about, that empty vessel creates the loudest noise. Because a lot of the time they've got something to say, which is kind of relevant, but it just doesn't apply to that situation because they don't have enough intelligence to realise the variation in circumstance. You know?
Yeah.
Like, if you've got Cyberpunk 2077 specifically, if you have a dystopia, lots of people in that dystopia are going to be treated badly because of their race. That doesn't mean you're preaching racism.
No, you're just showing what could happen if you let the world get to that stage.
Exactly.
I mean, that was... I can't remember most of the story of 1984, but it was... You know, they start off with a little bit and then that's kind of the story. That is kind of the story also of, you take, for example, like The Handmaid's Tale. They talk about how it started off like, first of all, they took away X, Y, Z, first of all, they took away they did...
You're going to need to finish one of these sentences, otherwise nobody's going to be able to follow you.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly how the character describes it, but she goes through a list of things that they started to take away from, like rights and declaring martial law, and then all of a sudden it was now a dystopian. There was a civil war going on, and then Gilead was created. And if you've seen The Handmaid's Tale, then you can find that, then you understand. But if you've not, I highly recommend that show. It's a good...
Well, that's the same with 1984. It's they start with the small ones that they tell you they need to take for national security, and you're a traitor if you don't trust them.
Yeah.
And then one day you wake up and they've taken all of them.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what was
So that's why you show... This is why we have things in media and in pop culture, whether it's games or television shows or movies, to show us, we can't let the government take things away from us because we'll end up in this kind of future.
Well, they also demonstrate... I don't think the government took anything away, but they demonstrate a future, basically, that's bad.
Yeah.
But it's against things like the government devaluing people. Not necessarily taking their rights away, but just saying, do you know what, we've decided that if you kill someone, you can just pay compensation and it's fine. Like, for businesses.
Yeah.
Like, in America, they don't really have any employment law. They've got less of that than they do gun control. And so you can, in a lot of instances, fire someone with basically no notice.
Yeah.
Everybody's just treated basically in terms of how much money they can make
That
the
happened
company.
to me once. I was fired without any notice.
If you were working a trial period, that's fine.
Okay.
But their employments are basically trial periods. It's why you get all those things in America where they're worried that they're going to get fired, so they just do whatever they're told.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen in Europe because it's not allowed to. But in America,
theory.
you can. I've never heard of somebody that I know of getting fired for a reason like that and not winning at tribunal. I've never heard of it. And tribunals are paid for by agencies that are set up to protect employees that want to take their employer to tribunal.
Mm-hmm.
So I've never heard of that. In America, you're basically constantly fireable.
Yeah.
Like, people getting fired once they have been there for a certain length of time, so they're entitled to a certain amount of pay, just suddenly getting fired because it means that they're too expensive.
That's horrific.
That wouldn't happen here.
Yeah.
Somebody getting fired just a few months away from earning a full pension, so they get fired, so they're only on half a pension. That sort of stuff does not happen here because it's illegal.
Yeah.
And that's part of the warning. And I understand that people on Twitter and in the media want to warn us about racism and all the rest of it, but you can't claim everybody who disagrees with your warning is racist.
Yeah.
There's nuance involved here that they're just not paying attention to. And what's happening is that a lot the mainstream journalism when it comes to gaming is working with mainstream game producers and are basically creating the dystopia they're warning against, and people who are actually warning against the dystopia haven't noticed.
I think it's the fact that also I think that sometimes people try and aim any kind of agendas, racist or anything like that, agendas, games and things like that, because it means it takes away from maybe political things. Like people saying that in politics and stuff like that. People focus on this, it takes away from something else.
Actually, I disagree. I know what you're trying to say, but I think that's confusing you there is the use of the word mainstream.
Yeah.
There's a separation between the idea of mainstream media and what I'm calling the mainstream gaming journalism. Basically, I'm discounting a lot of non-mainstream, more bloggy YouTube channels sort of things, not actual big publications.
Yeah.
And what I would say is that I think the reason that I disagree with that is because, or I think, I understand where you're coming from, but I think it's more the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
So you've raised a good point, but I think they're attacking the Polish company.
Yeah.
And not the American-based companies.
Yeah.
So if anything, it's not distracting from Trump. It's more.
I never said Trump.
Yeah, I know, but we know what you meant. Or Boris Johnson. It's more emulating them without realising it.
Probably.
Because they're attacking the foreign guys, not the people in their own country.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is deliberate, but it's funny that that's what's happened.
Indeed.
But it all started for me when the CD Projekt Red came out with that silly dad joke about did you assume my gender, which could have been taken in a good light-hearted way and deliberately wasn't. There was no assumption, oh, that's just a terrible joke. They took it as a deliberately targeted insult.
I think the fact of the matter is a lot of people feel like they have the right to be offended. No, that's not what I mean. It's
People don't have the right to offend them.
I can't remember what it is. There's a phrase, but I cannot for like me what I was going to say. It's like you can't do anything in this world without offending somebody.
Well, I think
everybody will get offended.
I think what you're looking for when it comes to rights is that you don't have a right not to be offended. If you're offended, you're offended. If you're not, you're not. There is no right in statute, constitution, law, anything, no matter where you are, that enshrines your right to not be offended.
Mm-hmm.
Because offence is entirely subjective. There's no way you could enshrine that. So that's the problem here. People get offended, think that that's, oh my God, you've offended me. That's basically as bad as stabbing me in the face.
Yeah.
You should be disgusted with yourself.
It's
and
like,
then stop. They stop having the conversation at that point.
It's like people were getting offended at the fact that the most recent campaign that cancer research brought out for obesity.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen those?
No.
They've started all these billboards of it looks like a cigarette packet, but it says obesity is one of the causes of cancers or stuff like that. And a lot of people were getting offended at the fact that basically used the word obesity and that this was offensive. It's not offensive, it's a scientific fact.
It's a term. It's a medical term.
No, it's they got offended at the fact that saying that if you were fat you were going to get cancer.
Oh, so not the word choice, it was the actual
I think it was the actual thing that they were saying. I think that's tough. Scientific, and also obesity is a scientific terminology. It's a
medical term and it's a scientific fact.
Sorry, medical term for when you get to a certain weight.
Mm-hmm. It's childish.
I've seen that. Like, here's the fact: I'm overweight.
Mm-hmm.
No, nobody may know that I am quite overweight. I don't get offended by that, but there will be other people that do get offended by that. But at the same time, that's a scientific fact. I can't be offended by a scientific fact.
You're at higher risk of cardiovascular disease, cancer, diabetes, that sort of thing. You need to know that.
Yeah. so I can do something about it, and I am.
Or you can choose not to if
Yeah.
that's what you're willing to do.
Yeah.
You need to know that. It gets... Do you know what that actually is? Is leading to like a sort of weirdly leftist start to 1984. Like, you can't offend people, so therefore you can't talk about certain things, and then you turn around one day and the world's become a dystopia, but you weren't allowed to bring it up because people might get upset.
What we're eventually going to have to do is have like little computers with us, and we're going to have to talk through the computers to create a non-offensive language.
Call a mobile phone.
No, but I mean like it generates like
Yeah, like a Stephen Hawking voice, which isn't offensive to anybody because everybody speaks with the exact same accent, intonation, all the rest of it.
Yeah.
In fact, they might just remove the human larynx.
Just replace it with little robot.
Nothing. Well, if we can't communicate, we can't offend each other.
There's body language that'll.
No, that's just...
But it's gonna be brains in jars.
We could just kill each other. Just get it done with. Just wipe the human race out.
Yeah. This has gone down a weird... I've taken this down a weird topic.
It's a silliness. It's a silliness. That's all that it is. It actually sort of reminds me of... we looked this up before. That there was that woman, Soleil Lalulu, who she immigrated a fox into her house. I can't remember the exact terminology for it. Adopted
Rescued.
a fox. She rescued a fox. Trust me, that's the wrong word to use here. And she fed it on a vegan diet for 4 years.
Yeah.
And it went blind and started having convulsions.
I know.
Partially blind,
partially sighted, and also had many health issues. But
convulsions was one of them.
She repeatedly said it wasn't a result of the vegan diet.
Now, she had many people, I think including experts, telling her, you can't feed that fox a vegan diet. She said, no, it's got all the minerals and nutrients and amino acids that it needs. She refused to listen until eventually, I think it was an institution had to step in and take the fox away before it died, thankfully.
I think that's what happened. I don't actually know what happened at the
end.
No,
I mentioned it in the story that we read. They took it off her. At least I really do hope that's what happened. But she refused to listen because she knew a little bit of information that there was enough nutrients, minerals and amino acids and calories and all the rest of it in the food, right?
Yeah.
What she didn't know was that a fox's digestive tract can't release those nutrients and absorb them because it's a carnivore.
Yes.
So it can't digest plant-based materials. It'd be like feeding a human on nothing but sweet corn.
Blech. Blech.
Well, I really like sweet corn.
I'm not a big fan.
I love sweet corn. But the point is that you can't digest the husk of like a tiny little
I like a
kernel.
corn on a cob.
Right, but a kernel of sweet corn, I think that's what they call it, cannot be digested. You can only get the juices out of it.
Yeah.
You can't digest the actual cellulose-based shell. So now, if you fed a human on that, they'd have to eat an enormous amount or they'd never get enough either way. Probably wouldn't get enough anyway because we're omnivores. We're supposed to be eating everything.
Yeah.
There is no way a fox can get what it needs out of a plant-based diet because it can't digest it and release the nutrients and then absorb them.
No.
But she had a tiny amount of information, ran with it and refused to listen to everyone and called them all sorts of stuff.
A small bit of information. What is it? A small bit of knowledge is a terrible thing.
Because suddenly the person thinks that they're a genius.
Yeah.
And stops listening.
I know people like that. Not you.
No, I am a genius. Because I kept listening. But
you say genius, I say something else.
Mm-hmm. No, but it's right. That's the difference between most people and smart people, is that smart people keep listening because they know they don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we've taken quite a big tangent away from...
Well, actually, no. It actually leads on to something else. I think this is relevant to speak about because it links to the gaming journalism that I spoke of. It links back to a story. Have you heard of Wizards of the Coast?
Nope.
So they make Dungeons and Dragons and Magic the Gathering and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
They have a job posting coming up. Blah, blah, blah.
You going for
vacancy. No, because one of their employees or somebody associated with them in some way, something like that, posted on Twitter that there were too many cis straight white dudes at the company, and if you don't fit this description and you're interested in the job, let us know. Something like that. Now, specifically, the actual wording doesn't tell you can't apply if you're a straight white cis man, right?
Yeah.
But it clearly demonstrates a bias away from that, which in Europe would be illegal. I'm not sure about America. As I've said, laws seem to be a foreign concept to them. But like I said, it doesn't specifically rule out people who are of that description from applying, but it makes it clear that they're not, that there's going to be preferential treatment given if they're not that. So it's an employment opportunity, employment based on the hiring of someone because of their cis-trans nature, their gender, their sexual orientation, and their race, their skin colour.
Yeah.
And when called on it, there was just a backlash against the people who were saying, well, this is just racist. It was all like, oh, boo-hoo stuff. Like, that's... I didn't understand. There was no rush from the people who fight for equality. You know, no feminists turned up, no NAACP, nobody turning up to say, well, hold on, this isn't what we're fighting for.
Yeah.
This is not equality, and this is not what we're fighting for. Because we've got to a point where if you disagree with people when they call out racism, even if they're wrong, you're racist for calling out that they're wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same here. It's the same with the vegan. The vegan women wouldn't listen either. Same here. There are people who are calling it out because they're genuinely worried about something, but they don't listen when someone proves that they're wrong. And they're aiding and abetting the mainstream gaming journalism, which is attacking Cyberpunk 2077 to try to garner support from the woke clan, but also to try and attack a company that is not going to play ball like everybody else does, like EA and all the rest of it. And also, funnily enough, like I said, one that isn't based in America.
Yeah. So we should move on to the next story, because I think we've taken quite a long time to talk about a story which was literally a sentence, like a line and a half long.
But I think that's because it's a very good point, because this leads to dystopia.
Okay, well, Outer Worlds,
yeah.
Under Fire. Why?
Under Fire is somebody else's description. I just borrowed it because I couldn't come up with my own. For not preaching a political belief set, essentially. Now, we've been through this conversation before, but I thought it was valid to talk about it again because of the fact that it's still under attack from these morons.
Don't call them morons.
Well, how about we decide what they are at the end, but that's my starting point.
That's your word, not mine.
Yeah, I've got to be clear about how I feel, otherwise I'm hiding
cleared legally,
things.
I don't need to say that.
If it's a crime to call someone a moron, we're in trouble. So
feels like it mostly these days.
The political belief set, basically the people who are making it came out and said, it'll be politically, there'll be politics involved, but it won't be politically charged.
Yeah.
They will not prescribe beliefs. What that really means is they're going to put people in positions politically and make you make the decision yourself. Sort of like in KOTOR, it had morality-based system, right?
Yeah.
And what they're going to look at would be something along the lines of, say, KOTOR, Knights of the Old Republic, had a light and dark system.
Mm-hmm.
So you saw something happening and you could choose to react to it. So a woman comes up asking you for some money so she can look after her family. Right? You can buy something off her.
Yeah.
That she can't, it's worth a lot of money, but she can't sell it because she's not allowed to. So you can buy it off her and sell it to the people who pay her a lot of money. Right?
Okay.
So, because you need a license to sell the thing to the people who will usually pay you a lot, everybody else wouldn't pay you much.
Right.
So, you can either choose to just take it from her, pay her a little bit, or pay her a lot, or pay her more than you're going to get.
Right, okay.
And that gets you a different amount of points either way, a different reaction. So they put you in the position where you see the lead up, you make the choice, you see the effect, but you're still in control. They're not prescribing a political belief set. They're just putting you in a situation where you have to make your own choice.
Yeah, free will and all that.
Yes. Same with Brian loves Mass Effect's Renegade choices. He loves them.
Okay.
Like somebody's talking and talking and talking and just punch them in the face. Hilarious, right?
Yeah.
That all really disappeared in Andromeda because they had to prescribe a political belief set. So you couldn't be nasty to anyone, otherwise it could be taken as offensive. Game dead. That's the problem that we have here, is that there's so many gaming companies are going for the woke clan and prescribing a political belief set instead of just telling the story they want to tell and letting people learn.
Yeah. Well, that's what you should be doing.
Yeah. So that's the problem. Is the Outer World maker just said, look, we're going to have, there'll be political things in it, all the rest, but blah blah blah, but we're not going to, it's not going to be politically charged. People then came out the woodwork on Twitter saying, yeah, so you've written a dystopia about capitalism going too far and human rights being oppressed, but it's not going to be politically charged. Yeah, you're not listening to what he's saying. The politics will be there. He's not going to prescribe your response. That's why it's an RPG.
Because, I mean, you could have like a political set, but your character might want to fight for that agenda or might want to fight against it, and it's up to you to decide if it's going to go either way, instead of you being told, right, this is your character, they like the agenda, this is your character, they hate the agenda, they want to overthrow it, or they want to continue to suppress or
but
this thing.
I mean, even they made the best Fallout game, Fallout Oblivion. Fallout New Vegas. Oblivion are the ones who made the game, sorry. Fallout Oblivion, that's where. Fallout New Vegas. And in that, remember, there's a solar power plant, right?
Yeah.
You could either use it to create power for the Mojave Desert wasteland, which basically freed the people from their reliance upon other people. Or you could turn it into a giant space cannon laser weapon.
Right.
Your choice.
Yeah.
So that's you don't prescribe the outcome in a game where people get to make decisions, because as soon as you prescribe a political belief set, they've already not made the decision. You've taken player agency away. That's why people don't like it.
Indeed.
It's just that people don't... Basically, it's just another story of people refusing to listen.
Yeah.
To think the whole thing through, because they're pushing an agenda, because they surround themselves... I've always said this. The best way you can ever challenge to ensure that you actually are correct in your beliefs is to find someone who believes most of what you do, but differs in one or two different aspects. Like homosexual rights, abortion, blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
And then debate those specific points. Because if you come up against somebody who disagrees with everything, then you'll just write that person off in your head. They don't even believe in blah, 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 blah. But if you find someone who only disagrees in that, you can't shake it off as easily. Because suddenly that point becomes so important. It's the only difference between you and them. And it's a difference that makes you worthwhile and righteous, but them utterly worthless.
Yeah.
It's much harder to just shake them off and keep your morality intact. And these people don't. They surround themselves entirely with people who completely agree with them. Also, as we all know, woke is no fun.
No.
Because anything... The thing about woke isn't removing racism. It's about removing anything which could be viewed as racist. Could be viewed as racist.
But then...
You could remove Santa Claus under that description. You know?
No more Christmas.
Exactly. That's racist because it is offensive to everybody who isn't a Christmasian. What? Just try it. Basically, as weird as it is, try and look on the bright side. Try and, if it could be racist, it means it also couldn't be. So try and look at that bit, eh? Let's move on to Fallout 76, Bethesda.
I hate Fallout. I am genuinely like, right, I'm fed up of stories.
But we've actually played it.
I'm fed up of stories of Fallout 76.
But we've played it.
We have.
And it was about as fun as Nasal Thrush.
Well, no. Can I be honest here?
Yeah.
Can I be completely honest?
Yep.
That was my tummy.
Yeah, your tummy's enjoyed in the conversation as well.
I didn't. Yes, there were glitches. Yes, that wasn't great. But maybe it's because I've not played the other Fallout games. I think you disliked it a great more deal than I did. Meaning, I did have fun. I think it's because we were playing with each other. We were playing with the game together.
I believe the sentence you were looking for was a great deal more than I did.
Yes.
Not a deal great, much more.
Yes.
Much moreness.
You didn't like it.
You've got to remember, playing games with other people can make a bad game fun.
Yeah.
Because suddenly, when you see something that's really bad, it can be funny. Whereas when you're by yourself, it's just sort of tedious and annoying.
Yeah, but yeah.
I would also have to say that the shooting was actually okay. The shooting was kind of fun.
Yeah. But
that will get boring if it's the only good bit in it. This isn't the only game with good shooting which hasn't done well because of other things.
Here's the thing, like when everybody was talking about how bad it was going to be, I was expecting my character to jump from one end of the map to the other and just like glitch out 24/7.
No, you're looking for Morrowind. But the point is that I have to say, no, I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting a bore fest. That's why I thought it would be bad. I thought it would be boring. And I was right, it was.
Yeah, it was to a certain degree. But I think it was less boring for me because I've never played a game like that.
Fallout 4, Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas. That's from bottom to top in how good the games are. And genuinely, they're all better than 76 by a country league.
Well, I'm just saying that I think that's the reason why I found it more fun than you did. Because it was new. I never played a game like that before. I'm
just telling you that it's rubbish.
Okay.
It's also slow. Compared to something like Destiny, it's really slow.
Okay.
So yeah, Fallout 76. Bethesda previously added repair kits and improved repair kids, as I've written, unfortunately. Kids. So they mention in the vault that they have, some of the people in there have children, but you never see children.
Yeah.
Weird. They have improved repair kits.
Very good.
So basically what that means is that you can use these items to repair your own items as opposed to scavenging for parts to repair them in-game.
Yeah.
You can just use this repair kit and it repairs that item. Improved repair kits give it a boost to its effectiveness beyond 100%.
Yes.
Now the reason I'm bringing these up is because they are in the Atom shop and they're not cosmetic. The patches since they've released the repair kits have nerfed some of the perks.
Now I learned that nerf meant just kind of
reducing the effectiveness.
Reduce effectiveness, yeah.
Power of some of the perks which helped with repairing items.
Yeah.
Do you remember the perk card system from when you level up? Because we've also played this. We're still talking about Fallout 76. We've played this one.
So long ago, I can't remember.
Yeah, you level up and you have cards and you put points into cards or something like that to increase your perks. And some of them are to make repairs easier or better.
Mm-hmm.
So they've nerfed those perks and have added something. They've also added something called a scrap kit for the same price as the repair kits.
Yeah, because I didn't know what this was. I had to ask you what it was, and you said it was taking junk
from your inventory
and turning it into usable scrap.
Yes, and it sends the scrap to your camp.
Yeah, but you don't need to be there.
Yes, that's the difference. It basically sends it to the camp, basically. Yeah. That's what it is. It's like a delivery homing pigeon. Do you know what it is?
What?
It's an owl from Harry Pothead. So, Bethesda have also changed the early game challenge rewards from free atoms to items. So the challenges are things like visit so many places or kill so many things or build in it. And you get free atoms. Atoms are the paid for currency. These are some free ones, right?
Yeah.
They've removed some of them and changed them into items. Items, of course, will become useless a few levels later.
Yeah.
But you will not have the free currency. You will have to go and buy it. So they're reducing the amount of free currency. And they've actually put things... And here's the thing, right? The promise that was made was that the shop would be cosmetic only, okay?
Yeah.
Now they're saying that this isn't pay to win, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some people are arguing that it is. I would argue that's kind of irrelevant to the question of cosmetic only, because these aren't cosmetic. A repair kit isn't cosmetic. A scrap kit isn't cosmetic. It has an in-game effect. Whether it's pay to win or not, it's an effect, which means it's not cosmetic.
Yeah.
So they still shouldn't be there.
No.
They should be found in the game world.
Yeah.
So what they're doing is, one, they're removing the atoms to force you to buy atoms, because that's why the stuff's so expensive at 1800. Secondly, they are introducing the repair kits, improved repair kits, and the scrap kits to see, they're testing the waters to see what the players will happily pay for, how much they're willing to spend, what they'll do, what they'll give into, basically.
Yeah.
They'll start selling scrap on it, they'll start selling bullets on it, they'll start doing all that sort of jazz. That's unacceptable.
Yeah.
But that's what they're doing. They're testing the waters to see what they can get away with.
No, I don't agree with it. It should be atoms. It should not be items, because loads of people will want to save those atoms up for something good.
There's nothing good in there anyway, to be honest.
But
they shouldn't have the prices they've got. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be 1800. It should be 180. Basically, they're deliberately going out their way, Bethesda here, to make Fallout 76 even less enjoyable. And just to let you know, see some of the patches which they used to nerf the whole system to make it make them more money, brought back some of the old bugs that they fixed the bugs, patched it, brought the bugs back. They patched it again, added this stuff in, patched it, and then it's brought the bugs back.
Yeah.
It's a disaster of a game. This is even worse than Master Chief Collection. The difference with the Master Chief Collection is I can understand how they made a mistake.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to fit 2 console eras onto a 3rd console generation, right?
Yeah.
And mix the 4 games. So they've got 2 Xbox games, Xbox Classic.
Yeah.
2 Xbox 360 games, all in one game, including the multiplayers.
Yeah.
On a platform that is the next generation Xbox One. That's going to be tough.
Yeah, it will be, yeah.
But they've managed to get it working. We've been having a lot of fun with that game.
Yeah.
Not anywhere near the level of problems people had when it originally came out. And I don't think they released it in an acceptable state. Don't get me wrong. But they've kept working on it and it's actually got better. But you can understand the mistake. They shouldn't have released the game. They assumed that they could fix it in a few months. It's taken a few years, if not more. They made a mistake.
Yeah.
And they should be punished for that mistake, and they have been. But you can see why it took them so much time to get that game working.
Yeah.
There's no reason for this.
No.
So, it's just funny.
So, I'm afraid we're going to have to leave it there for today.
Yes, that's
after
us.
on that slightly downer. But if you like what you've heard, we'd like you to like the video. That'd be great. Great.
I'd be great, please, if you could like the video.
If you could subscribe to the channel for us to hear more.
Yeah,
we might
and
have some interesting stories next week. And hopefully we'll eventually start
some actual
gameplay
videos.
videos. But that won't be in conjunction with this, so don't worry. This will not be stretched out to like 3 hours.
No, and you can click the notification bell so you can be alerted.
Yep, leave a little comment in the comments down below. That'd be great.
Yeah, and you can follow us on Facebook at OverShadow.ShadowCast.
And you can email us at overshadow.shadowcast.com, which will be left in...
No. You got overshadow.shadowcast at gmail.com.
I'm sorry. It's been a very long week for me.
Yeah. So we'll just leave it there then with you with egg on your face.
Yes.
You can email us at a website apparently. So we hope you join us next week and that you enjoyed yourself.
Yes. Goodbye.
Yes, indeed. Goodbye.
Goodbye.